All right, let's just jump right into it. Today on The Explainer, we are unpacking what I call the fake rich trap. And we're going to talk about why it's actually your daily spending habits and not your salary that are secretly completely destroying your finances.
Look, I'm putting on my mentor hat today because somebody has to give you some tough love. I want you to ask yourself, why are you still broke? Seriously. If you feel like you make pretty decent money but somehow have literally nothing to show for it at the end of the month, I promise you, the answer isn't your paycheck. It's those sneaky micro habits that are quietly draining your accounts while you try so hard to keep up appearances. We all fall into this trap, right? Especially in our 20s and 30s. You get a raise and boom, suddenly you feel this intense psychological pull to upgrade your whole life to match this new income. You're trying to project success to your friends, your coworkers, or let's be real, strangers on the internet who honestly aren't even paying attention to you. But underneath that glossy surface projection, your bank account is taking a massive unrecoverable hit.
I love this quote because it absolutely nails the ultimate illusion of modern spending. Society essentially trains you to buy expensive liabilities just to look successful. But those flashy brands, they are literally destroying your wealth. When you go and buy a $2,000 designer bag on a credit card, one that you're going to take a whole year to pay off, you are not showing off wealth, you're showing off your debt. You are actively trading your own future financial freedom for a temporary hit of dopamine and a little metal logo. It's this vicious behavioral cycle, a classic present bias trap that keeps really smart, capable people running endlessly on a financial hamster wheel.
I'll totally admit it, I used to fall for this too. I really thought that looking the part was the exact same thing as actually being the part. But the cold, hard truth is that the people with the flashiest cars or the absolute biggest houses are so often the ones drowning in the most consumer debt, just desperately trying to maintain this fake rich image. It's a total facade. I remember looking at guys driving these massive, pristine $90,000 trucks and thinking, wow, they have life completely figured out. But in reality, they're sweating over a $1,000 monthly payment, totally stressed out behind the wheel. Remember this, true wealth is almost always what you do not see.
Now, I had to hit rock bottom to figure this out. I had to completely reset my own spending biases to actually save my first $100,000 by the time I was 24. And it started with a brutal wake-up call. I realized I had absolutely zero savings, nothing, because every single dollar I made went straight toward looking like this highly successful young professional. So the real game changer for me was adopting some strict frugal rules. I had to force myself, and it was hard, to stop caring about what my friends thought of my car or my clothes. I just became completely obsessed with keeping the money I actually earned. And by age 24, I hit that six-figure milestone. No magic stock market tricks, just pure behavioral reform.
So what's the exact behavioral trap keeping you from building real wealth? Well, it's the math of microspending. $10. That's it. It seems so completely harmless in the moment, doesn't it? You tell yourself, hey, it's only $10. I work really hard. I deserve a little treat. But guys, this is the silent leak in your financial boat. Because of how our human brains process risk and loss, we simply do not register $10 increments as a threat. You never feel the pain right then and there. You only feel the panic when you check your account balance at the end of the month and wonder where on earth thousands of dollars just vanished to.
Let's put this into perspective and look at the actual data over a 20-year period. Because the difference between the impulsive consumer draining that $10 and the person investing it daily is an absolute shock to your system. Okay, if you spend $10 a day for 20 years, you are out over $73,000. It's just gone, poof, traded for a temporary caffeine rush or cheap junk that you probably threw away. But if you take that exact same $10 and you invest it daily in a boring standard index fund, thanks to the magic of compound interest, you're looking at something closer to $150,000 to $200,000. That is a literally life-changing wealth gap, and it's created by a single $10 daily choice. Here's the thing you have to understand about compounding interest. It has a minimum requirement to work. It needs time, sure, but it also absolutely needs capital. If your capital is constantly flowing right out of your bank account and straight into the pockets of massive corporations, you are actively choosing to stay broke, while the investor just quietly wins. You literally cannot build a mountain if you keep giving away all your dirt. The investor who makes the disciplined choice to harness that daily $10, they might not be flashy today, but they are absolutely going to be free tomorrow.
Let's really contrast these standard habits with the habits of the 1%. Fake wealth is entirely obsessed with looking rich today, right now, through debt. We're talking maxing out credit cards, buying depreciating liabilities, and rocking brands that just scream for attention. But real wealth? Real wealth is actually kind of boring. It relies on minimalist habits. It's about buying index funds and keeping your overhead as low as possible. The top 1% fully understand that true wealth is not about what you can buy to impress people. It's about what assets you can acquire to actually buy your own freedom.
You might actually be surprised to learn that the people who seem to have less stuff almost always have more actual money. Why? Because they simply refuse to tie up their net worth in a hunk of depreciating metal. A car's job is to get you from point A to point B safely. That is it. It is absolutely not a measure of your self-worth or your success in life. So when you see someone driving a sensible, reliable $30,000 car, do not automatically assume they're struggling. More often than not, they're the quiet millionaire next door who took the 50 grand they didn't spend on a luxury vehicle and poured it straight into income-producing assets.
And this brings us to a massive psychological hurdle: lifestyle inflation. This is the ultimate salary trap. It's that behavioral glitch where your spending just automatically increases to match your rising income, pretty much guaranteeing that you remain poor. You get a raise, or you land a new job, and instantly, without even thinking, you upgrade your apartment, you finance a much nicer car, you start eating at those expensive restaurants. So yeah, you're earning significantly more money than you were 5 years ago, but guess what? Your stress levels are exactly the same, because your savings rate is still stuck at zero. You have to consciously recognize and physically break this psychological cycle if you ever want to get off the treadmill.
So how do we actually break these biases? Well, I'm giving you some homework. Here are 3 non-negotiable immediate steps you must take right now to track your spending and snap yourself out of this consumer mindset. First things first, audit and cancel your hidden subscriptions. Pull up your bank statements from just the last 3 months. I guarantee you're going to be absolutely shocked at the automated charges quietly draining your account. Step 2, track every single daily micro purchase. Yes, even the $2 ones. Write them down in an app, put them in a notebook, whatever works. You need to physically feel the friction of spending money again. And step 3, redirect that impulse money into investments automatically. Do it before you ever even have the chance to spend it.
If you can just implement these foundational shifts, you will finally stop getting quietly poorer every single day. Instead, you'll start building the kind of wealth that literally lasts for generations. You've got to stop trying to look rich. It is a total loser's game that only enriches the brands you're buying from. Just step back, take a breath, and let compounding do the heavy lifting for you. Focus relentlessly on owning assets that put money into your pocket instead of liabilities that drain it out. Start managing your money the way the 1% does, with logic, with immense discipline, and with a hyper-focus on long-term growth rather than those quick, short-term dopamine hits.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to really challenge your mindset today. You know the math now. You know exactly what behavioral traps are actively working against you. So, what choices are you going to make with your very next paycheck? Are you going to choose to look rich today, or are you going to choose to actually be wealthy tomorrow? Because the reality is, you usually cannot have both, especially not when you're just starting to build your foundation. The decision of what happens next is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Get out there, start tracking, start investing, and let's go build some real wealth.